play the same game. Difference is you never try your best. You don't have a skill, you set yourself up for a higher mess. I work around the clock, you slack off for lots of time to rest. Keep bullshit until your life is gone. Cause living's naturally hell. You have to work to put a smile on. After the rainbow so red, the air so high. It may seem so that I can't see, but the darkness provides the light for me. I don't wanna be lonely. The moon is my only homie. There's a higher power that show me. Instead of not turning the rainbow sundown. Nocturnal rainbow soaring in the air so high. It may seem so that I can't see, but the darkness provides the light for me. I don't wanna be lonely. The moon is my only homie, and there's a higher power that show me. Instead of nocturnal rainbows, nocturnal rainbow soaring in the air so high. Nocturnal rainbow soaring in the air so high. Nocturnal rainbow soaring in the air so high. Nocturnal rainbow soaring in the air so high.
Oh, wow. Shalom to the home team. What it do? Drop Nation, we popping off. Season 3, we popping off, man. Hey, man, I'm just surfing away with y'all, man. You know, we over here in frequency rehab. Isaac 4 got it popping every Saturday night, man, 8 to 10, 8 to 11, 8 to 12, however we rocking it. Yeah, man, you know, these are just those type of drops that I just want to connect a few things from links that have been sent in or tabs I got up, you know what I mean, that will connect. We still are about to get to the Balsam series. We're going to connect some things that my sister Jackie Anthony dropped with the balsam, the guaiacum, this cure for syphilis. Iconography, St. Christopher. Remember, we dug on the Christ of Ophir and how Ophir can be all of America. Ophir can be Haiti. You're talking the Christ of Haiti, the Christ of America, the Christ bearer, St. Christopher. Yeah, man. What's this right here? You got a armed syphilis, sign of syphilis on the left. Armed. A member of the cannibal race being mauled by a dog. John Manderville, man. So then we just got some drop on the diamond. Get that drop secrets of the diamond. Yeah, male and female diamonds. Diamonds provide all this protection. And same person, John Manderville, is also dropping about these dog heads, right? So yeah, man, we right there. We're gonna get to it. We might end up reading this link and connecting some more Syphili drop. Tell me, is it play? You think these people are just being funny with their artist depictions? Artistic, creative depictions? Yeah. All right, so obviously Christ is a big part of this situation. With these dog heads, man. With these dog heads, man. Is it play? You thought we was going to let our foot off the neck of this hijack? Caramel ain't letting the foot off the hijack. Natural by law ain't letting his foot off the hijack. Ma Jigga ain't letting his foot off the hijack. Yosef the Real ain't letting his foot off the hijack. I don't know what Nick be on, but I know Nick Dion ain't letting his foot off the hijack, is all I'm saying. Why do you think we gonna let the foot off the neck of the hijack when it's right in our face bone? Dog-headed cynocephalus. All right, because you know what I mean, we getting linky. Yeah. All right, we're getting linky. We're just getting a little linky. Shout out to Ahchwa. She dropped some links. I just got some links up, and if you dropped it, hey, hi. If I don't say your name, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? I'm just going off. I'm just tab surfing some stuff that has been on my laptop for a minute. I know it's come from different sources, man, from Instagram to YouTube to the emails. So you know, shout out to everybody in Drop Nation dropping these links. First, man, let's start right here, man. And this is something we got a piece of before, but let's get it like it's the first time. Again, we're gonna start digging on this guaiacum, however you spell it, Guiciacum, something guaiacum. It's this mysterious plant that they were after that cures syphilis or dog-headedness. So they needed a cure for this, right? And the Creator has a cure in the form of this tree, this holly tree. Remember the holly tree, one of the three trees that, you know, remain righteous with the cypress. I believe it was the cypress, the holly. Copper Khan, man, love the Copper Khan. He ain't let his foot off the neck of the hijack. Phoenix Nadi ain't let her foot off the neck of the hijack. Ty Battle, Ahchwa Ty, definitely ain't let her foot off the neck of the hijack. What would make you think we letting our foot off the neck of the hijack, man? Oh, the cedar, right? The cedar, the cypress, I believe, and the holly tree, according to, you know, different sources. You know, these are the three trees that stood the test of time. They remain, you know, in order, and the Most High granted them with these healing powers. And this guaiacum is connected with this holly tree. Remember, they got the Hollywood, which makes you think what's behind the veil of Hollywood. Does it have anything to do with this Safali that's getting this holly? The Safali is getting the holly tree. They also call it this man, I wish I had that link up right now. This type of not just cross, what they call it, man. Not like the Holy Cross, but something like that. You know, in dealing with this tree, man. What they call it, man. I might stumble on it later, man. Definitely in that Balsam series, we're gonna reread a lot of things, so we're gonna get all that. But what you need to wrap your mind bone around is that they found a cure for this over here. They found the cure over here. Now you remember Atlantis has been here all this time, right? Poseidon, Atlas, all this stuff. Canine. This dog-headedness definitely connects to Atlantis. Does it connect to before Atlantis? I don't know, but we got Anubis, we got other Egyptian deities that got this dog-head situation. And no, it's not no play. And none of them can look you in the eye and say this shit is play when they know we talking high science. Now you say, did the Creator create this? Or did the Creator's creations create this? Who's their God? Did they know Hawa? Were they in land that didn't belong to them? How can they have land if they're not natural? By law, love to the bro. We're just talking abominations. If you're not natural here, how do you have land here? If you're not natural here, how do you have land here? Yeah, Atlantis, you're foreigners. And it's time to be hijack free, so let's get it like it's the first time. And one of the bros sent this in. He said, man, I was surprised at the end, you know, tune in. Man, was it my bro? And look, man, you know, I'm sorry, man. You know who you are. But we've been getting a lot of drop, and I I mean, like whenever I lose track of who sent me what, that lets me know we're getting a lot of drop in right now. And that's a beautiful flow. That's the flow. That's the kind of flow we want. I know you don't do it for credit. You know what I mean? Blame it on my heart, my mind bone, not my heart bone. Blame it on my mind bone. But I appreciate you for sending this in because we did get a piece of this. But this is actually a different author, and he put a twist at the end, man. So shout out to the author, Night Terrors. All right. This is from Night Terrors. You know what I mean? You know, you got some drop, but let's check out this dog-headedness, man. Let go.
Like dogs is attested by multiple historians. The accounts of explorers and the artwork of cartographers. Who were the dog men? Where could they be found? How did they vanish from the face of the earth? And what are the odds that members of this tribe have survived until the present day?
Uh-oh.
In Egypt, the most monolithic civilization of old, no less than 3 gods were represented as a human being with the head of a dog, Duamutef and Wepwawat, 2 gods of war, and Anubis.
No less than 3, so there's probably more, right?
It's an artwork depicting members of a race, which at one...
Now, clearly these are black people, right? These are dark brown people like Negroes today. My noggin. You have Negroes with regular faces, Negroes with lions faces, with bird faces. What's up with Atlantis, man? They had a lot going on, man. They had a lot going on. And this had to do with Negroes, man. Now you got different tribes of Negroes connecting with different high sciences, connecting with other powers. Back to the Columbus, St. Christopher drop. Again, is Christopher Columbus the same King Alcathous, the god of Atlantis, who wanted to be worshipped as a god, just like this Egyptian, you know what I'm saying, Netters, right? Was Columbus, you know, kind of like the last string of Atlantean kings? Christ of Ophir wanted to be worshipped as a Christ, right? As a god over Zeus, over the sun god. He wanted to be worshipped over Zeus, man. Was he cursed by Zeus? Was he cursed by Apollo? Like Alcathous was cursed by Apollo? Like Shepherd Cephalus was cursed with this syphilis, venereal situation that spread and ravaged like crazy after Apollo or Zeus cursed Columbus or Alcathous with this other level of things? Is it venereal? Is it leprosy? Are we talking all of the above? These are the questions. We don't got to have the right answers. Can't you dig it by now? We don't have to have the right answers. We just got to ask the right questions. And what you're getting right here is straight, man, from you. It's right from the street. It's right from the hood. It's right from the homies in the hood. It's right from the homie in the back of the class. This ain't no, you know what I'm saying, synthetic energy. You know what I mean? These questions are coming from natural. The naturalist. The real ones. And you see, man, we tribing up more than ever. If you find yourself on the sidelines, that's your fucking fault. You need to dig on it, get the bullshit out your way, and start tuning in and tuning up. Don't miss the wave. Don't be stubborn. Don't be dog-headed. You know what I mean? Get with your tribe up, let the bullshit slide, and get with the reality of things. Because you see what the reality of the war is. It's a frequency war.
One time coexisted with man. Reports of this race begin in Greece. The Greek physician Ctesias, in a geographical treatise, wrote that in the mountains of India there live men with dog heads, known as the cynocephali. whose territory extends as far as the river Indus. They can understand language, but they have no ability to speak. They communicate with each other by barking like dogs. Their population numbered over 100,000. The cynocephali produce amber and purple dye, large quantities of which they presented as annual tribute to the King of India.
Snoop.
They do not live in
Doggy-Dogg. Dog pound. Bow wow wow, yippee yo, yippee yay, bow wow, yippee yo, yippee yay. Atomic dog. Oh man. Man, me and AD the Truth Seeker, man, we was live, man, over the Shabbat, just kicking it, man. Live on that 432, you know what I mean? Get the app, get on the site. We was talking about, little how this all connects, and we thought about Snoop Dogg, man. I was like, man, oh, damn, man. Oh, damn, say it ain't so. Like they just way out ahead of us, you know what I'm saying? But all this Doggy-Dogg. Now, it could be everything and it can be nothing. It could be nothing, it could be everything. But it is right in your face, Bo. For real, let go.
Houses, but in caves under the earth. 8 centuries earlier, according to oral history, the Argonauts of Greece waged battle against the half-dog tribe.
The Argonauts, and I just love to the Templar. He did incredible flow. Go check out Irvin Reed. He had a great flow on Jason and the Argonauts, man. I said, man, do some Argonaut drop. I didn't know that this Argonaut drop would connect directly to fighting the Cephali, man. Let's go.
At a place which today is located in Serbia. Their location in this area is independently confirmed by Serbian oral tradition, which speaks of the creature Zaglof, having a human body and a canine's head with teeth of iron. Zaglofs were said to live in a dark land with an abundance of gemstones, but no sun. In other words, in caves. The most famous of the dogmen is Saint Christopher.
Bang! The most famous dog-headed nigga. Now, why is he more famous than Anubis? Well, he's more famous in this society because Saint Christopher, man, he carried the Christ child. So when you talk the frequency of Christ, you're talking lots of frequencies, lots of connections. You got to get out the mind of a hijack. You shouldn't even be dealing in the Christuses. You shouldn't even be calling nothing Christ. Because it's connected to everything hijack. And nothing not hijack. When they call Christ, they're calling syphilis, man. They're calling syphilis. They're calling the shepherd syphilis, Stephen the Christ, Estebanico, their messenger, their anointed, their Christ. Anybody leading them out of the plague is their Christ, man. And he carried the Christ child.
Who appears in several Christian texts and many examples of religious art. Prior to his conversion, Christopher was said to have been a savage and ferocious soldier, captured in battle on the eastern coast of Libya. He was a large man with the head of a hound.
Large man, head of a hound. And apparently he got baptized in what? That's when we started getting on the indigenous plant that they call it the holy tree. The holy tree. Because it was reversing their dog-headedness. As long as they were, walking in righteous statutes, then their dog-headedness started getting reversed. So when they go on their religious stuff, they're not being religious just to be religious. They're being religious because they have to observe a certain decree or, a portion of the order so this shit works, so that their magic works. That's why these niggas had to calm down, is because their dog-headed magic won't work if they're completely out of order. You know what I'm saying? To some extent, they had to form some type of synthetic order so that they shit works. And they were getting baptized in this particular guaiacum or this balsam, love to Jackie Anthony, and, putting that in the water to reverse their dog-headedness. So even their most famous doghead, St. Christopher, supposedly got, transmutated into a human, or he lost his dog-headedness, you know what I'm saying, because of his baptism. And now you think about, is Saint Stephen, or, this Christ child that was carried over, is it all just one person? Then you got to go as far as even saying, is Esteban Zamora, is that Christopher Columbus? Is one a dog-headed version, St. Christopher, and another one has a regular face like a man, Estebanico? I mean, these are the questions, and we don't got to have all the right answers. It's just a matter of asking the right questions. When you call on Jesus or Yahweh or Yeshua, same story, same red words, same doctrine, same New Test, whatever denomination and split off you want to make it. You Nagas today are creating your own, veins of Christianity. You're continuing to form more denominations of Christianity. That's Yahweh Yahuwah, Hamashiach, another branch of Christianity. Because you're rocking with this story that's connected with the jackals. So your land has become a den of jackals. The Hebrew word tan is not tanim. Unless you're talking plurals, man. And then you got tanin with an M, which is dragon. Tanin is not tanim, right? Tanim is the plural of tan, which is jackal. Tanin with an N is not plural, it's singular, dragon. And tananim is the plural, dragon. But you see, they're just giving you the play, because it's that jackal frequency, which is the serpent, the trickster. The jackal is the serpent. The fox is the serpent, is the devil. It's the fox, it's the dragon, it's the coyote. It's the dog, cynocephaly, the sin, cynocephaly. You're born into sin. Why? Isn't the moon goddess sin? I mean, just go, you ain't got to go crazy. Just say, is the moon goddess sin? My nigga, my naga. Oh, sin. Sumerian nana, love to natural by law. I said, that's the ill nana. That's that little Kim, right? Sin is Nana, Mesopotamian religion, the god of the moon, sin. You're born into sin. Why did this moon lead Columbus over here? Go get that Sinus of Phallus series. It says that the moon transmutated into a nymph, some female nymph, and led Columbus and promised him these lands as a reward. So the moon led him over here. Now we got this bioelectricity. Love to the bro. Go get the drop from Natural by Law, who's connecting all this with the sin, man. Yeah, man. The sin, right? We're just talking about the sin, man. You're born into sin. Cynocephalics are among you. You can't eat what the cynocephaly eat. You can't think how the cynocephaly think, not knowing what you're born into. You're dead. You're born into the sin. You're born into sin. You gotta overcome the electricity, get back into your magnetism, your magnetics, your platonic solids, your flow, and realize it is a frequency war. This war is not against flesh and blood, right? That's what they say in your face. But the principalities, the energy, the frequency, the vibration. See that moon, man? Sin. That's why these wolves are howling at the moon. Goddess, Venus, El Nana. That's what Columbus was following over here. Cynocephalus, shepherd syphilis. Columbus is known for spreading syphilis. Columbus died of syphilis. Syphilis is leprosy. Syphilis is leprosy, man. Love the Ahchwa battle, man. I mean, you pull up the links. You get the drop. Ahchwa is already, digging on the drop and sharing it with the tribe. I'll just get to it, you know what I mean? I mean, we're just talking about venereal disease in the Bible by R.R. Wilcox. You dig? You get the drop. You're talking the existence or otherwise of allusions to syphilis in the books of the Old Testament is of more passing interest to the venereologists as it is of importance not only in considering arguments for and against the Columbian theory of the American origin of the disease in Europe, but also in the protracted dispute as to whether y'all's and syphilis are not the same disease or modifications of the same pathological process. The Columbian theory, what? That he's the one that spread cynocephalus or syphilis. Let's get to the drop, man. Because Todd Battle got the drop, man. Yeah, I mean, when you start digging down on it, and, it gets right in your face bone that you've been talking leprosy the whole time. And it says it is suggested also that it is often referred to under the vague term leprosy. Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, man. So all this leprosy talk in the script, you're just talking syphilis, you're just talking syphilis, which is bringing you right back to the Greek, right? The Christ. Christ is Greek, right? The Greek, right? Christ is Greek. We're talking Greek, right? Christus, right? The Greek legend of the dog-headed tribe. Cynosyphilis. This is why we weren't to mix with certain tribes that are connected with this syphilis. We got all that Moab tribe, love to carry mail going in, because it's relevant. They don't want to talk about it, but we damn sure will, because it's in our history, you know what I mean? It's in our flow. We got to clear the air. Let's talk dog heads. Let's clear the air. Makes everybody uncomfortable to talk dog heads because they know it's real, they know it's trill, they know it's for real, for real. Whether you're talking Chinese, historical documents, Japanese historical documents, Indian historical documents, indigenous American historical documents, biblical documents, Russian documents, Prester John documents, Genghis Khan documents, King Arthur documents, John Manderville, they're all talking dog heads, man. Anubis, Atlantis, all this shit, dog heads, man. Dora the Explorer, Swiper, no swiping, dog heads, man. All right, man. All right, man, let's go.
From a clan of warriors. After meeting Jesus, he repented and was baptized.
Oh, boy.
Eventually receiving sainthood, and occasionally granted the honor of being represented with a human face in later.
So he got dunked in the water and became a human face, or did he get the cure? And that's why we're going to get on the Guayacum and a whole nother drop. I'm just keeping the flow flowing and just sharing a couple links. We're going to get through this one and then talk some, ancient super technology. Let's go.
Iconic art. A Chinese historian, Li Yanshu of the Tang Dynasty, mentions a dog kingdom. And during the Liang Dynasty of China, the Buddhist missionary Hu Sheng describes an island of dog-headed men to the east of Busan, a nation he himself visited, which has since been identified as Japan.
Where's Japan? Where's Japan? Don't make me pull it back up. Let's go.
One story of King Arthur. His men are caught in a skirmish with dog-headed warriors in the mountains of Edinburgh. Hundreds of them fall under the sword of the English knight, Bedivere. The famous explorer, Marco Polo, wrote of his journey to the Andaman Islands off the coast of India.
And they're being funny with these silly ass, images just to, create some type of splice in your mind so you're not really taking it serious. How can you take it serious with these dumbass images? You know what I'm saying? So I apologize on their stupid ass behalf. Love to everybody, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, man, you know what I mean? This shit is for real, for real. They're playing with your history, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, everybody knew the drop on these dog heads. So when your creator is saying that your land will become a den of jackals, man, and you'll be in astonishment and all that. Yeah, these jackals, when they rode up on Toussaint L'Ouverture, you know what I mean, the French with the dog heads, when they came with their war dogs, when they put the dogs on you, who let these dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who signed treaties with the dogs? That's why Moab don't want to talk about it. That's why the Canaanites don't want to talk about it. We're talking Psalms 83 Confederacy, homie. Everybody didn't make treaties with these dogs. These dogs was attacking somebody. They were attacking the Argonauts. Right? Don't we have different tapestry fighting these animals, man? Game of Thrones, man. Giants. Giant dog heads. So that's why you got to really dig on it, man. Because, you know what I mean? The tribe is real and the vibe is real. And yeah, man, there's another vibe out there. It's a frequency war. And the price is going up.
He recounts his meeting with barbarian men with heads like hounds, going so far as to identify the breed as Mastiff. They grew their own spices, which they were willing to trade. They displayed a primitive form of organized religion and worshipped oxen. From their necks hung religious charms, hammered from pieces of silver and gold. We can guess what may have happened to this fierce but minority race. As the empires of men expanded, the half-dogs were exterminated. The evidence suggests they were a proud and aggressive tribe, which would have much preferred to die in battle rather than be assimilated into human culture.
Now, are you going to go with the narrative where they exterminated, or did they get baptized and now have faces of humans like Cinderella, as long as, the Matrix is providing enough lunar lunacy? You know what I'm saying? Love to the bro, man. Real talk, get the drop from Natural by Law. And we didn't plan this, you know what I'm saying? We didn't plan to start, connecting these things or, taking these particular callbacks, going back in the recon. You know what I mean? So that's when we know, man, all right, cool. It's wavy. It's better than ever. Third wave all day. Third wave is the first wave, is the second wave, man. And A-hop to everybody, man, that's been on this journey, even a piece of it. Even if you just, you know what I'm saying, man, drop is crazy. But you know what? I can dig on this dog head shit. This shit crazy. Even y'all niggas, man. Love to y'all too. It's all happening, man. Yeah, man. Who let these dogs out, man? These are the war dogs, man. These are the jackals. These are the tans. Yeah, man. It's serious business because they got an enemy. And their enemy is your ass.
Culture. However, if self-destructive humankind relinquishes its claim to rule the earth, the cynocephaly may once more arise from their caves.
Caves. So you keep talking about these people who coming out the caves of Europe, the Caucasus Mountains, right? These caves. What else was in the caves? You see, their enemy is you. Hold up, man. Get this silly ass picture out of here, man. Their enemy is you because their enemy is the creator. Because that ain't their creator. And they know you gotta rock with the creator and that, you know, you gotta have your land. They can't have your land. You can't give them your land. That would be an abomination and slap in the face of that which is natural, the creator. So of course their enemy is you. I don't care how cute they are. You know what I'm saying? It's an abomination. They need somewhere to rock, right? They need somewhere to live. Ain't you tired of giving up your land? So hey, man, either you think this is play, or you say cynocephaly, syphilis, the venereal situation. Now you got the sex situation. Of course they're having sex with these human dog. They was having sex with dogs. You know what I'm saying? So of course they're having sex with human dogs. They only got the face of a dog, right? So they got their genitals of whatever else. Of course they going crazy. Of course they spreading this, you know what I'm saying, syphilis or this leprosy in this different ways. I mean, then you got the boils and, you know what I'm saying, your skin getting all, you know, boiled up and all that stuff they were talking about. All this is all the same connection, man. So look at right here, the Ame'rican Holocaust. The dog-headed beast who became Saint Christopher. He started out as a dog-headed beast who became Saint. I just realized it said King Drop. I said, man, this sounds too familiar, man. And then I said, oh, okay, roll call. 432 to Drop Radio, man. I didn't even see this, man. So I'm watching this shit with you in real time. And I think the bro that sent it said, you know, I didn't expect, you know what I'm saying, what I see at the end. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, that's pretty dope, man. I didn't expect it either, bro. I didn't expect it either, man. That's pretty dope, man. So, we've been doing this drive for a minute, just like Natural been digging on this for a minute, man. And it goes back years, man. We've been calling out this dog head since at least 2017, man. Cynocephaly. Hey, man, we just surfing the wave. And as we have seen, even... All right, so that was a twist that the bro said. He said, I didn't expect this. So they put our drop at the end. Hey, this is our 2017 drop. Let's go. Semi-human monstrosities, such as a dog-headed beast who became Saint Christopher, were susceptible to favorable transformations. And they had permutability, or this transformation of their human essence was thoroughly compatible during Christianity's reign in Europe, with the church's fervent crusade to bring all the world's people under its heavenly wing. You so-called Negroes lived after the manner of the Golden Age. A more kind and loving people there cannot be found in the world, as far as we have hitherto had trial. Hey, all right. All right, man, that's all right, man. Love to Night Terrors, man. So, you know what I mean? He's, you know, throwing the A-high back, and whether we talking flat drop, flat earth drop, you know what I mean? Someone's always, you know, picking out some of the the recon and the path that we've paved along the way, man. And we give all credit to our creator. And that's dope. You know what I mean? Keep the vibe spreading. Keep the flow flowing. Yeah, man, we're just talking about this Christus, man. Ahab too, you know what I'm saying? The ether flow, all the brothers and sisters dropping the drop. This is another one that came in, man, hot off the wire. Enemies, Empire, the False Christ. Again, I just got these tabs up. I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the person that sent me this, but you know who you are, and I appreciate you. Drop Nation, this is what we do. Empire of the False Christ. All right, let's get a piece of this, man. We just talking what? Saint Stephen the Christ, Christ of Ophir, Christ, 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 your Christ, your Christ, Christ, Sinus of Violence, Shepherd. Let's go.
How they transplanted the old world history onto the new world map. Let's go back to
Bring it back. Bring it back for a stack. Bring it back for
the
a stack.
falsification of our history. How they transplanted the old world history onto the new world map.
Transplanted the old world history onto the new world map. So that's why we're finding all of our cities and places over here that's supposed to be over there, because they transplanted, one more time, old world history into the new world map. And when they do it to the map, they're also doing it into the, you know what I'm saying, society, you know, socio-political arena, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying, mental brainwash, you know what I mean? Like, when they transplant old world shit into so-called new world shit, all they're doing is rebranding shit, you know what I mean, and twisting it and giving it a excellent new tune. So they're taking the ancient love song and are now transmutating that, terraforming that into some excellent new tune. One more again, man. One more again.
How they transplanted the old world history onto the new world map.
All right, so this is going to be interesting, man. Love to you, Drop Nation. Let's go.
Let's go back to the moment where it all started. In 800 AD, a big tsunami is hitting crater Earth and is flooding the whole crater.
800 AD, which corresponds to, you know, the history of Kalalus and the Anasazi having to migrate after 900. Water's disappearing, different things happen. All right, let's go.
People of crater Earth are fleeing to higher ground, taking their possessions and main artifacts of their culture. In Northern Europe, parts of the refugees or Vikings are setting foot ashore. Here I will resume my story where I ended it in a previous video, and I will tell the story the way I think it all happened. Main line in the story is that you have two histories. Everything that happened before 800 AD is happening on crater Earth. Everything after is happening on the New World map. So let's take the map of Europe and erase all known names. To begin, I will take myself as an example because I live in the area where I think the refugees first landed. So I live in Belgium, Belgica, in the region of Flanders, Flandria. Born in the city of Ghent, the old name is Ganda. Belgica. Belgium was founded in 1830 and was named after a quote of Julius Caesar in De Bello Gallico, where he claimed the Belgae were the bravest fighters of them all. Our area coincided with the area historians think was once Belgica. So the story of Julius Caesar happens before 800 AD. Therefore, we have to look at the map of Crater Earth. So the real Belgica has nothing to do with the current Belgium. Flandria. The history of Flanders is a medieval one, happening after 800 AD. Symbol of Flanders is the Lion of Judah, the Ari. Suddenly, in the swamps of Flanders, a very high standard culture is erupting. The Flemish primitive painters, Flemish polyphony, old Flemish tales, Gothic cathedrals are popping up out of nowhere. This knowledge was imported by the refugees. In my view, they also imported Christianity. Why is this area called Flanders? Let's look at the crater map. There you see Flandria. Maybe it reminded them of the Flandria of Crater Earth. Ganda. Ghent was a fortification of the Scythians, plundered by the Vikings around 870 and used as a base to plunder the rest of the territory. Here you see the castle built by the Vikings. So, this city around the fortification was captured and renamed Ganda after a city on Crater Earth. Let's recapitulate. You have two main forces. You have the invading white race, the Christians, with the lion symbol, the Ari, the phoenix of the resurrected Christ, and their language is Rune, Hebrew, Yiddish. Next, you have the Saracens, Moors, Mayans, Mazarians, Etruscs. All those people can be brought back to one root.
Come on, man. Come on, man. If you notice, I'm just letting it play. Man. But, man, let me get adjusted. Get adjusted, man. You know what I mean? I'll be in my car late at night. You know what I mean? Or else, I'll be on, daddy daycare at all times, which is dope. I'm grateful for that, but it makes it a little more difficult to get to you, to get you to drop. So, yeah, man, look, man. All right. So they're calling out Saracens, right? So they're saying all these tribes of what? Saracens, right? They call them all out by name, man. What they say? Saracens, Moors, right? We've been digging on this Moor. Moor just means great. It doesn't, apply just to Moab or, whatever, but they're claiming to be the greats. You know what I'm saying? Get behind us, we're the greats. Well, who was Joshua, who Noble Drew Ali calls Joshua the robber? He's also a great, right? So, it depends on which perspective of the greats you have, tribally speaking. Then you got the Mayans, right? Which, of course, you could throw the Toltecs and everybody else up in there. Aztecs, Masarians, Egyptians, okay. Etruscans, Turanians. So then you got all this, what was all that drop about the Tartars, the Tartarian, or all this buried Tartar artifacts and all this stuff. So Tartary, all these would be the Tartaries and all this, except when we got specific, we started realizing that when we read about the Tartars in history, a lot of times we're referring to Genghis Khan's, whole conglomerate fighting, you know what I'm saying, Mongols, right? But Mongol just means greats, the great ones, the great race, the great ones, the great horde, the great order. Mongolians, all this refers to great ones, just like Moors would be great, right? So it's all, it's all wordplay, you know what I mean? Referring to these greats, Moors, Mongol, all that, you know what I mean? So, but when we talk Saracen specifically, again, if you're a Christian, if you, whatever the case it is, if you don't understand that you gotta, disconnect from this excellent new tune completely, completely. Again, you gotta go back to the Papal Bull. And what I mean, we all continue to grow and flow, you know what I mean? But I can't even, talk Papal Bull or think Papal Bull without having to give it up and give appreciation for Alexander Williams, man. Lex Will, man, who brought this out at a time that we needed to hear it, man. And you know what I'm saying? It's full appreciation no matter what. I mean, this is the frequency that we choose to be in. You know what I'm saying? We choose our reality. So, love to Lex Will for this Papal Bull, man, for real, for real. H1961, just incredible nuggets that we continue to grow with, man, and continue to flow with, you know what I'm saying, as we tribe up and vibe up. So, hey, out to the bro, man. Papal Bull, 1452. We just talking Saracens, right? We just talking Saracens, right? Doctrines of discovery, right? Again, this would always be an incredible document, important document, like so many others that we've come across to connect so much of, the continuation, that we're flowing in. Pope Nicholas V issued the Papal Bull, Diversas, June 18, 1452. Pay attention to the dates. We're talking Colombo, right? St. Christopher, right? Christ of Ophir, right around that same period, right? It authorized Alfonso V of Portugal to reduce any Saracens, Muslims, right? Left to let us find the truth, man. People of a promise is all we're talking about. So reduce any people of a promise, darkies, right? Darkies that will contain, all of us, whether you call us Moors or Mayans or Masarians or Egyptians or Turanians or what, Tartars, Saracens, man, Saracens. So these are the code words that we're looking out for, and this is what's popping up. So you know that there's a document from Pope Nicholas V that's never been retracted. You know what I mean? It's never been brought back. They went to war against all Saracens. If you don't know who you are, my Naga, my Negro, so-called African American, so-called black person, colored person, you will be considered a Saracen to them. And they went to war against you all. Now we know when we talk more, well, yeah, we know it's a more war because there's Moors on both sides of the war. There's Moors on the other side of this Papal Bull, right? There's Moors on this other side of this Papal Bull that's saying, yeah, go get them, right? You still got Charles V, Charles Quinto, who's signing off the docs, right? We still got King James, who's signing off the patents, Hudson Bay Company, London Company, right? I mean, who got the drop? We're talking corporations, right? And they need your cooperation. They need you to observe their customs to collapse the wave pattern in this particular possibility of destruction for the Naga. But you need to observe the Creator's laws, statutes, commandments, you know what I mean? Realities. You need to observe the Creator's realities to collapse the wave pattern in the particular reality of paradise. And this is what we're getting back to. So you are the Saracen that they warred on. Reduce them and any unbelievers in their New Testament hijack, in their Zeus, Apollo hijack, rebranded hijack, Atlantean sun god hijack. So anyone who ain't rocking with it must be reduced to perpetual slavery, man. And you know the rest, man. We got it many times, man. We got it many times, man. It encouraged the enslavement of the native, non-Christ people. Non-Christ people. So don't tell us, oh, we need to go through Christ to get to our Ahchwa. We're the non-Christ ones, man. We're the natives, man. Get out the mind of a hijack. Whether you in Africa or America, which they call the New World. Are you new? Are you new or old? Because they're weighing all in singular the premises with due meditation. They've been meditating on hijacking you, man. And noting that since we had formerly by other letters of ours granted, among other things, free and ample faculty to the aforesaid King Alfonso to do what? Invade, search out, capture, vanquish, subdue all Saracens, man. All Saracens, man.
And their language is Rum, Hebrew, Yiddish. Next, you have the Saracens, Moors, Mayans, Mazarians, Etruscs. All those people can be brought back to one root people, the Scythians, or the Turanians. Some Turkish viewers drew my attention to Polat Kaya, a Turkish investigator. He came to the conclusion that every known culture and language has an origin in the Turkish language. Turanians were believers of the sky god, sun god, and the moon god. For that, they were labeled as pagans and persecuted by the Aryans, Christians, and the Semites. So the Scythians were brown-skinned, they were nature worshippers, the pagans.
So we dodged the hijack. Because you can't have something non-natural calling you a natural worshiper. They're just trying to flip the pagan on you. They're brown-skinned pagans, and we're white-skinned believers in, Saint Christ of Ophir, Shepherd Cephalus. This is why you have to dodge the leprosy. This is why you have to dodge the hijack. We keep going to the New Test on that Matthew, is it Matthew 21 or Matthew 15, talking about the Canaanite woman, rocking up on Isus, and she's a canine, right? So she's a dog-headed, and she wants a blessing for her daughter. And he says, nah, man, I can't. It's not right to give you the meat of the children and toss it to the dogs to give it to the dogs. I mean, you have a literal dog head, man. You know what I'm saying? A literal dog head. A literal cynocephalic. All throughout the script. Jackals, all throughout the script. They've invaded us. They've hijacked our entire frequency with an excellent new tune. This is why we have to separate from it and go direct, nowhere else but direct. There's no time to do any shuffling right now. You must be direct. It must be clear. And if it's fuzzy, it ain't of Ahchwa. I'll say it again. If you kick in fuzziness, it ain't of Ahchwa. You ain't over here because it's fuzzy. You over here because we're clear, crystal cut and what we kicking it, man. Clear, crystal cut and how we kicking it, man. You know what I mean? Hey, man. It's tribe or nothing. And it got to be clear. You know what I mean? You got to flow. So the flow, can't be complex at this time. It should start making sense. You know what I'm saying? That there's a difference between us and them. That you are not it. And if it ain't, connected, with what you are flowing with in your spiral right here on the land you're on, if it ain't fully connected, if it ain't, you know what I'm saying, something that the creator is making, you know, complete foundation out of, then hey, man, you got to dodge the hijack 1000. Because they've invaded, searched out, captured, and vanquished our people. They've subdued all the people that they just listed as Scythians, right? Which is also connected with the Scythians, Princess Scotia. We just talking about, you know what I'm saying, the OG original pick land, right? I can't wait for our pick series, man. We're going in. Back to the Caliphs. She would be a Saracen. Queen Khalifa would be a Saracen, right? Queen Khalifa would be a pagan because she didn't rock with this Isus. She didn't believe in going through no hijack to get to her source. Khalifa didn't believe in, you know, going to no Yahushua HaMashiach to get to her source. Nah, man. You're talking about going direct. And the fight is on when the fight is on. You know what I'm saying? When enough people are connected back to this Atlantic, because that's all you're talking about, man. When you talk New Testament, it's all Atlantis, man. It's Atlantis at its best. Christianity is the fullness of Atlantis. I mean, beyond the technology of Atlantis, Christianity, man, and how they've connected, you know what I'm saying, their same energy through the text, trying to connect it back to the seed of David. You know what I mean? All this stuff is like, it's the fullness of their trickery. They've done more damage, you know what I'm saying, through that vein, you know what I mean, of this Atlantean hijack than anything having to do with, you know, Atlantean wars and all that other stuff. This is the fullness of it. Jesus is the fullness of the Atlantean hijack. It's the nuclear, you know what I'm saying, supreme, superior weapon. You know what I mean? It's their last resort. It's everything. It's their Hail Mary, right? So we're waking up right now in an unprecedented time. Again, you know, a time when we've never seen a bunch of Nagas from across the plain truly tribe up before. Not even in script have we come together from plane to plane, you know what I mean, and, you know, been vindicated and redeemed and had our land restored. That's never happened. That's only been prophesied to happen, but it's never happened. There's no historical data that, you know what I'm saying, the Nagas, the original, you know, flow, got their, utter and full redemption, you know, able to step in and, you know, truly tribe up on their land, man, and be connected with their creator and be at peace. I've never seen that historically happen before. So what we're hoping for and what we are vibing with and what we are connecting, man, with all this information, you know, whatever we're talking about, Safali or Prester John or, you know, diamonds, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's all so that we can find not just what we're looking for, you know what I mean, but, you know, there has to be a way that we know that the patience that we're putting out, you know what I mean, being patient at a time when we can't compare this to anything, you know what I mean, this is what we're doing it for, man, to bring out enough of a foundation, because we kind of started with nothing, you know what I mean, all throughout the script, throughout all their captivities, at least they had a common knowledge of who they were, you know what I mean, at least they can connect to a tribe, but for us, we had no connection to a tribe, man. That's unprecedented to not have connection to a tribe. So all this information ain't just information. It's reestablishing, a foundation, you know, validation for who we are, where we're at, whose we are. And we could only do it through the energy and the spiral of our framer and shaper that we go directly to. We only got this far to tribe up, you know what I'm saying, through the energy of our framer and shaper. We've only been able to dodge the hijacks at every corner at all costs through the energy of our framer and shaper. So we don't switch up now. We don't switch up. Because when you know what I'm saying, when the creator shoots an arrow, the strong archer that the creator is, it hits the mark, it hits the target. You know, we don't switch up. We are the arrow that was shot to hit the target, to hit the mark, to hit the towel. You know what I mean? And we've been steady water, you know what I'm saying? And no matter what you're going through in your life, your ups and downs, the wins, the L's, just know that this is a frequency, this is a secluded alcove that we can always come through, you know what I mean? And it ain't about numbers. I don't give a shit about analytics. I don't give a shit about subscribers. You dig? I just want to rock with my wave surfers, man. If there's about 100 wave surfers out there, then guess what, man? Ahchwa, man, I'm proud to rock with the 100 wave surfers that's out there. I don't care about what else numbers they say, because I know the real. I know the real. And I'll do it for that 100 wave surfers, man. I'll do it every time for y'all. Because I know y'all real. So hopefully this can establish a deeper foundation for you and your families. You know what I'm saying? To keep digging and not be afraid of saying, you know what? I'm a rock like this. I'm going to stand for something. I'm going to stand on this. I know I'm not spinning on a ball. I know I'm indigenous. I know I'm in the frequency of Hawa, of our creator, the spiral at 432. And I know that I'm the people. I'm the seed of Hawa, who they're calling Toranians. We're just talking Torah. We're just talking mama. We're just talking wisdom. We're just talking our framer. We're just talking our vibration, our security. We're talking our shaper. But they're calling us pagans because of that, you see, because we're not rocking with nothing from under the firmament, you dig? So they called us enemies of their Christ. And they stole our what? Kingdoms. So they found kingdoms. The kingdom of who? Israel. Dukedoms, principalities, dominions, possessions, and all movable, anything they can move, and all immovable goods. So whether they can move it or whether they couldn't move it, it's now their possession, whatsoever held and possessed by them, and reduce their persons to perpetual slavery. That means forever. Forever. Until you get out of it, until you break the cycle, until you have a different observation, my naga. This shit is forever. You're reduced forever. This this right here, man, was kicked out by Pope Nicholas V, man. You dig? And it has never been retracted. And this is war on the Saracen, right? This is war on the Saracen, right? On the Moor, right? On the darky, right? But it's not white and black. It's not white people going to war against black people. I'm saying it's a more on more war. And you got some Moors on the other side doing contracts with dog heads, sicking the dogs on us. Who let the dogs out to get the Kalelus? How we cool? Septimania, 7 cities of Cibola. Who's giving them the drop? Why did Estebanico, St. Stephen get murked in New Mexico? Yeah, we putting our timelines back together. We realized they shifted our times back over 1,000 years. And we're asking, man, what is sin? Who's the ill nana? Who y'all really rocking with this crescent moon We just talking Islam, right? We just talking Islam, right? We just talking Islam, right? Yeah, man, it's a frequency war. More on more. Let's go.
And they worshipped the sun eye and the moon eye.
Let go. So pay attention. It's the same story. We're talking phantoms, duplications. So first you're just talking about the Vikings, right? All this shit's supposed to be happening around 800 AD, the same. But remember, we got the same history going down with Sylvanus Texas and Theodorus, Amari, Nehemiah, Machir, Todros. Around the same time as the Davidic princes, around the same time as Charlemagne, 700s, Kalalus, all popping off right here in America. They try to make it a Jewish colony. We know we're talking Hebrew Israelites that are born and raised and are indigenous, autochthonous from the old world. That is, saying what we would call, the promised land. We just call it the promised land. You might call it Ophir, you might call it Cibola, Shimbala, all kind of names, man. But you just found us here, man, and there's no such things as races. So we're not talking racism. We're just saying, what's synthetic and what's reality. And don't try to put us asleep in a synthetic, fabric of sorts. Allow us to dig on reality without pissing you off, because we're gonna get realer than the we're gonna get realer than the motherfucker around here, man. We're gonna get realer than the bitch around here, man. You know what I mean? Because this has to be real or it gotta be nothing. It gotta be real or nothing. Do doghead people exist? Even more than that, is Atlantis, still the energy that's, behind the scenes in power, all that, right? And if Atlantis is still in power, then certainly these dog heads must still, have a bone to pick, you know what I'm saying? So again, the next drop, we're going to get on the cure for the syphilis so that we know that, okay, this is what they're getting baptized in. This is what's reversing their curse for a certain period of time. Will we live in a time that, their magic wears off like Cinderella? And you start seeing the world for what it is, dog-headed people and all. Eventually, we're going to have to get realer than a bitch around here, man. We got to get realer than a motherfucker. Nah, man, you just got to get real, It's just time to stop the bullshit. Don't try to be some other character. Be yourself. See for yourself. You know what I mean? Surf the wave. Take the surf the wave challenge and dig on it, man. And that's what we doing, kind of emptying our cups and saying, all right, let's get real. Is this for real? For real? Because the war's against the Saracens, and we just asking who let the dogs out. Might be uncomfortable for some to talk about, But somebody let the dogs out. And it's connecting to everything right now. Let's back it up. Hear this part again. One more again. So now don't go crazy when we say St. Christopher over here in the 200s, 300s could be Christopher Columbus, the same, who carried this Christ. Remember, St. Christopher carried a Christ child. We're going to get that again. So who did Christopher Columbus carry? He carried syphilis, man. He's known for spreading syphilis. Now you know that syphilis is a shepherd. So he carried the shepherd syphilis. Then you say, who is that in history? What's his other names? Now we're connecting that with St. Stephen, which then connects back to the 1500s with Esteban. And did he carry baby Estebanico or Esteban St. Stephen, a.k.a. St. Christ, St. Christopher, who came back as, I'm the Christ bearer. He's the anointed leading them to the promised land. He gets martyred in Hawaku in New Mexico. Phantoms, duplications. Yeah, I'm digging on it with you. Old city names for the new city. So Alabama was once called York or Oxford. London was once Arkansas. England was once right there in Arkansas. Is that what we're talking about? I see Compton in the house, man. Y'all dig on it, man. Y'all let me know, man. Y'all let me know what y'all see, man. Let's go.
Let's concentrate now on the center point of the falsification, namely the Crusades and Jerusalem. To understand the Crusades, we have to go back to the Roman Empire and the conquest of the whole crater. The only people they could not conquer were the German tribes. Later in time, the German tribes attacked the Roman Empire, and it collapsed. The only part they could not conquer was the part on the other side of the Mediterranean Sea. And that
Remember, the Germans are the swarthies. Remember, Benjamin Franklin called the Germans black in his observations of mankind in 1751. So you talk Germans, you're talking black people. More on more, right?
became the East Roman Empire. Capital was Byzantium. 500 years later.
And again, you got this Byzantine and you got Cappadocia. Now, before it was Cappadocia, this was Mazaka. Mosak was the original name. Mosak, like Moses, like Moshe. So that's when they have a Mosak, the founder. We're going to get back on that drop. Mosak, the founder, right here in Cappadocia. Now you ask yourself, why did the Byzantine Empire fall in 1453? Which is 1 year after this what? This bulldog, right? It was 1 year after this bulldog, right? This Papal bulls in 1452, right? So 1 year after this, the Byzantine Empire falls, and you see that this is all connected with Jerusalem, or the real Hebrew Israelites that are holding down this particular India over here, that particular India over here, that particular India. We're just talking the priest king. You're talking King David. You're talking the Davidic lines, the Adoruses, Sylvanuses, Toltecs, the Picts, the Rus. You're talking all the families, the clans, Germanic tribes, Mongol great ones, Genghis Khan, Prestigion, more. This Cappadocia, Mosaka or Mosak plays heavy, connected back to the Mexica. And remember, this Mexica language only went extinct about 100 years ago in Peru. So you got a connection with this Peru direct to this Russia or Cappadocia. Come on.
The Eastern Roman Empire had become Muslim, and the Western Roman Empire had become Christian.
Now, what they're calling Muslim and Christian, he's just putting a paintbrush over here, some generic shit. Nah, this was heavy, Israel rocking, because these Franks and these Rus of Russia, all were part of this Templar situation that was protecting the secrets of King Solomon, David, all that. So, then you got the treacherous Templars that Prester John was warning us about. He said, look out for the treacherous Templars, because you got Templars and you got treacherous Templars. You got Moors and you got dirty Moors or treacherous Moors, right? So again, all this was connecting. And these Franks, and most times than not, were allies of whatever we were rocking with, you know what I'm saying? So, that's when you got to cut through all of this so-called dark ages, medieval times, has all the real history that we're getting from the BCs, and all this stuff is really popping off, you know what I'm saying? Much more recent after the 900s, but really 1300s, 1400s. We're just going right back into Columbus and saying, yo, you're the St. Christopher, man. Not in 200, 300. You're St. Christopher. And you're carrying St. Syphilis. Saint Syphilis is their Christ. And when you're calling on Christ in the New Testament, you're calling on, the Anubis. You're calling on the syphilis. You're calling on that which, spread the leprosy. You're calling on that which spread the syphilis. You're calling on the dog-headed. Now you got the jackal frequency. Remember, the jackal is the serpent. That's their new tune, is the jackal frequency of 440 hertz. Separation, duality, thoth. Let's go.
So now the Christians decide they have to liberate Jerusalem, the land of their Savior, Jesus Christ. The first thing they do is attack Constantinople, that is still under the influence of Byzantium. And
so that's where Moses was rocking, right? That's the Mexica connection. So that's when they attacked the Byzantine first in 1453. Byzantine fell.
Here you can clearly see that Byzantium and Constantinople are two different cities. Here you see the location on an old miniature. Here another one, flipped vertically. Here you see a battle taking place, and you see that Constantinople is completely fortified in a Gothic style. And in the city you see a lot of big churches. And what do you think of this one? Fire weapons? So what are the history books telling us about Constantinople? Well, they try to tell us that the original name was Byzantium. In 330, the name was changed into Constantinople, and in 1453, the name was changed into Istanbul. Sure. So that would be the same like saying Brussels used to be called Madrid, and then 200 years later they changed their name into Paris, and now they call Brussels again. Sure, So this is our first piece of evidence of the falsification of history, Constantinople. So what happened to Constantinople and Byzantium? Well, both were flooded, and Istanbul was the victim and got the two names. From there, the Crusaders decide to attack by land, and they make a circular movement. There they attack the city Antiochia. Here you see
And that gets us thinking, like, when did Atlantis really fall? Was it way back in some 10,000 BC shit, or was it something, more around Columbus's time? Was Columbus St. Christopher, this Anubis, was he the, last king of Atlantis, or last king to be venerated as God, this Christ of Ophir, Christopher situation? Did it just happen? How the hell do we know, right? What's going on in the 1500s, 1600s, right? So, they can, do anything, push your time back 1,000 years or 10,000 years, I'm saying? Basically, you're going to be, more accurate in your investigation when you assume those things, when you can, when you assume that they've made a shift on you, then, you'll find some level of foundation. But when you, have no idea, you're going to be, slipping all over the place, But they can't catch us slipping no more. You see these towels all over these buildings, man. You see these towels all over these buildings, man. Yeah, man. All, the so-called whites did is just move into buildings that Moors on both sides had already, castles, were already living in, and just moved in them. All these castles in Europe today, please believe that, melanated people were already rocking in them beforehand. Yeah, man, more and more war. Let's get a couple more minutes.
picture of the crater map, and you see that Antiochia is a very big castle. Next to it is a big mountain. Here is a medieval painting of it. You see the mountain in the background. Here you see another one. You see the mountain in the background, fortified castle. And if you look carefully in the front, you see the Crusaders have cannons. Strange. I didn't know the Crusaders had cannons. And of course, Antiochia is situated in Turkey, and this is Antiochia. Where are the walls? Is that all that is left from this gigantic city? So, when they have taken the castle of Antiochia, it's very easy to attack Jerusalem. In case you think, well, why don't they attack from the water? The whole coastline is fortified by cities. You have Tripoli, Beirut, Acres, Tyre, Jaffa, Ascalon.
Right quick.
Both were flooded, and Istanbul.
When they're talking about this flood too, that's when you got to think, like, when did this Atlantis fall? When did this Atlantis fall? If these other Constantinoples and Byzantines, because when we talk about them, it's like it's all one area. They're saying, oh, there was separate areas. Two were flooded, and then one is now taking all these titles, man. History's crazy, man. When you just try to account for this stuff, is it just one flood? Are we still talking about the same flood of Atlantis? Noah's flood? Is this all the same thing? How many damn floods is we talking about?
Constantinople. So what happened to Constantinople and Byzantium? Well, both were flooded, and Istanbul was the victim and got the two names.
So the fall of Atlantis, is it all happening? Let's get back to where we were.
Who know the history of the Crusades, these names will sound familiar. Later in the Crusades, they will attack Egypt, and they attack Cairo through the Nile. And now, of course, the most important piece of the Crusades, Jerusalem. Well, we have the same old story again. So Jerusalem is a fortified city, Gothic style, and in the center you have the Temple of Solomon. In many of the cases, the Temple of Solomon is an octagonal temple.
We're just talking platonic solids.
1356, the travels of John Mandeville.
Man, John Mandeville's everywhere, man. It's my first time watching this, man, so I'm kicking back watching it with y'all. Again, I'm just tab surfing, so I apologize for not knowing who dropped me what or sent me what on this. But if you see your drop, just drop it in the comments. Say, yo, that was my drop, and I'll be like, man, I appreciate you, man. I really do. You know what I mean? Sister, brother, family. You know what I mean? We all one flow. So we're doing this together. We on the investigation. So yeah, man. This jabroni right here, John Mandeville, keeps popping up, man. All right, let's go.
For if a man were to go from Scotland or England to Jerusalem, he would be going upwards all the way, for our land is in the lowest part of the west. The cause is that the earth and sea is round, for it is commonplace that Jerusalem is in the middle of the earth.
So our land is in the west. Do y'all get that? I'm trying to get that, man. Let's hear it again.
For our land is in the lowest part of the west.
Our land is in the lowest part of the west. Huh? One more again.
(1356) The Travels of John Mandeville. For if a man were to go from Scotland or England to Jerusalem, he would be going upwards all the way, for our land is in the lowest part of the west.
He'll be going upwards from Scotland because our land is in the lowest part of the west. That's mind blasting, man. Y'all got to help me with this orientation. I need your help, Drop Nation. If you get these riddles, drop them in the comments, man. We're gonna start giving out our drop shirts, man, for the dopest comments again, man. So, hey, man, season 3, we popping off in the ether. Download the app. Yeah, man. So, all right, one more time. I got, this is mind blasting, man. What did he say?
1356, The Travels of John Mandeville. For if a man were to go from Scotland or England to Jerusalem, he would be going upwards all the way, for our land is in the lowest part of the west. The cause is that the earth and sea is round, for it is commonplace that Jerusalem is in the middle of the earth. Let's take a look at some different explanations from Palatkaya. All seems to be referring to the position of the sun.
The sun city, the city of God. Place of dawn, the place of the rising sun. I'm the place where wisdom is. All right, let's go.
What happened to Jerusalem? There was a flood, and after that it flash froze, together with some other holy places.
Whoa. Whoa. let's call it back to the Perry Reese map, right? We calling the Perry. I like to call in to evidence the Perry Reese map. Any objection? The Perry Reese map got Antarctica with no ice on it in the 1500s, and we said, is that a fluke? Because there has no ice. There's a couple other maps that we come across of Antarctica with no ice in the 1500s. So we said, when did it freeze over? And is this part of the spell? This Safali spell, man. Hiding, or, maybe the creator's just hiding some drop. But they just threw that out there, though. Because when they talk about this flood, again, think about Atlantis. It's like, it's the same story, but they open it up. Remember what they said in the very beginning? That the same story is being reflected from the old world to the new world. So the whole time that you think you're in Jerusalem over there, remember what they said at the very beginning of this drop.
How they transplanted the old world history onto the new world map.
How they transplanted the old world history onto the new world map. So now you got the drop that you're in the old world and they're transplanting this history here onto their map that covers their particular area, man. This particular necromancy. Let's get this part again right here.
There was a flood, and after that it flash froze, together with some other holy places like Mecca and Byzantium. Now the ice is melting, and maybe the holy places are defrosting.
Remember, this video is called Empire of the False Christ. Sinus of Phallus, man. We just surfing the wave. And this freeze over. You know what I mean? Your land is popping back up. Don't trip. Don't even trip, man. Man, they militarizing for a reason, but their bosses and their masters, they already know there's nothing they can do. The Naga, right now, I mean, once you're in order, all praise Ahchwa. You know what I'm saying? We are, already victorious, as one, as something that you cannot destroy. You can't destroy this frequency. So I speak on behalf of the frequency that you can't destroy. Ahchwa. It's all happening.
Is that the reason why Patriarch Kirill, head of the Orthodox Church, visited Antarctica? Well, we're almost at the scene of the crime. Let's recapitulate. The Vikings, Templars, Crusades, and now 1400 to 1500, the Renaissance. The resurrection of the Phoenix. You conquer some Etruscan territory. You take their main city and you call it Rome. You take the Etruscan buildings and you call them Roman. You take their history and replace it with the greater history of Rome. Now, of course, you think this is the Roman culture.
Woo-wee! Now we can connect our drop and know when we talk Roman, you're talking the Hebrew word Remon. R-I-M-O-N, Remon, which means pomegranate, like what Joshua and Caleb had to go get to validate that they were in the promised land, Kalelus. So we know that the pomegranate, the Remon, has everything to do with promised land. Now they want to front like this is promised land. This is Rome. Rome has to do with the pomegranate, the promised land. Rome has to do with the promised land, the Remani in India Superior. so we see clear. But I enjoy surfing the wave now. They're saying, yeah, man, these people got rode up on and they're labeling their synthetic Romes all over the place, right?
You conquer some Etruscan territory. You take their main city and you call it Rome. You take the Etruscan buildings and you call them Roman. You take their history and replace it with the greater history of
Christoph.
Rome.
More of that Christoph, man. More of that Christoph, man. And as they're telling you this, it's parallel to American history, right? You take this city, you call it York, right?
Buildings and you call them Roman.
You call them American, right? But then they're destroying all of these buildings and replacing them, and that's when we got all the other drop, with all the mud fossil drop, right? So, you know what I mean? It's, this town hall, we'll call it a town hall today. You know what I mean? All this stuff was already here, man.
You take their history and replace it with the greater history.
You take our history and replace it, right, with a New Testament. Hey, looky here, man. I'll get a new testimony, you know what I'm saying, once the prophecies are complete. You know what I'm saying? Once the Creator comes and he says, all right, cool, let's start a whole New Testament about things. But I ain't going to get it from the hijack coming to my land, visiting the promised land. Not visiting, invading, searching out. Invading, searching out. What did it say again?
History of
Rome. Nah, man.
Now, of course, you...
man, what did it say again, man? What did Pope Nicholas issue on you? The Saracen, right? The Saracen. The pagan. It said that we're going to vanquish, capture, search out, subdue all Saracens and pagans whatsoever and other enemies of Christ, whatsoever place, and the kingdoms, dukedoms, principalities, dominions, possessions, and all movable and immovable goods whatsoever held and possessed by them, and to reduce their persons, they people, they families, they clans, they auntie, they uncle, they grandma, their nephew, their children, their grandchildren, their wives, their children, their cousins, their homies, their friends. Reduce them all. Reduce them all. Reduce their persons to forever perpetual slavery, servitude, and to apply and appropriate to himself and his successors the kingdoms, the dukedoms, the counties, the principalities, the dominions, the possessions, the goods, and to convert them to his and their use and profit. Bang. This is what the Pope issued, people. This is what the Pope issued, people. This is the Papal Bull. This is what the Pope issued, people. Where's your religion coming from? How many councils did they go through to weave in the super Naga, to connect to the heart bone of the Naga, to weave him into to David's bloodline, to weave him into Prester John, the Magi? You want a messenger? You want a Mashiach? He better be walking you on your promised land. And if you ever think that Joshua will ever tell you to turn the other cheek, then you are confused. Ain't no worse fusion than the confusion. And we don't practice syncretism. where you fuse in some history into our reality. When the Khan is fused, he's confused. Even when that fuse is an excellent new tune. We just surfing the wave, man. Let's get the last few minutes of this.
I think this is the Roman culture. But let's take a look at some Roman emperors, how they are depicted in the Middle Ages. Julius Caesar, Titus, Caesar Augustus. Look at their heads.
They're all Christ. All Christ. These are all Christ. Weave them all in. Overstand. Phantoms and duplications.
That is the same crown like the Pope's.
And the Pope is now the Prester. He's now the priest and king because he's the king of Vatican City. But you don't know that. You ain't digging on Vatican City. He's the king. You thought it was just the Pope. He's the king. Because if you're the king of Vatican City, you're the king of the world, right? You're the king of all the Indias. They got their own passports, man. Vatican City Corporation issues its own passport, man. Issued by a corporation, man. Not a country. A corporation. Priest and king, phantoms, duplications. Now they're taking the priest king title. So how can you shrug off the priest king investigation, knowing that they've taken the priest king titles? They're getting it from somewhere. They're making duplications and dualities for something that is real and righteous and pure, something that is everlasting. They're sucking on the teat of everlasting. They want to get the immortality, right? They want to eat the dragon. They want to practice conscientio, nemesis alchemists, Merc retro. The retrograde kills common sense.
3 kings are gathering at a strange building. That would be the Temple of Solomon. Three kingdoms.
The 3 Indias, phantoms and duplication.
And 1 crown for him who rules them all.
Wow.
Now the 3 kings are paying tribute to their new Lord, Jesus Christ.
Now here you go. Oh, they got him right? He's a brother, right? The Ethiopian eunuch. This is another reflection of Prester John of Ethiopia, the king of Ethiopia, right? And this is how they also did us in Psalms 110. Your Lord said unto my Lord or my master, sit at my right hand while I make your enemy my footstool. Try to make it for the Christian hijack mentality that David must be calling on Christ. The Psalm of David must be saying, your Lord said unto my master, my Lord. No, that's written in, this is a song of David. A song of David written for the Levites to sing. It's third person, man. A psalm of David written about David. They're saying, your Lord said unto my Lord, or my master, Ahchwa said unto David, sit at my right hand while I make your enemies my footstool. Sit at my right hand, David, while I make your enemies my footstool. Did Ahchwa not make David's enemies his footstool? Psalms 18, man. Psalms 18. Smoke out of his nostrils. Smoke, fire out of his mouth. Fire out of his mouth. David is saying Ahchwa came down, blazing the hijack. Did Ahchwa make David's enemies his footstool? Absolutely. So what's Psalms 110 about? Your Lord said unto my master, Ahchwa said unto David, sit at my right hand while I make your enemies my footstool. Don't tell us David is calling on Jesus, man. We're going to get on this Genesis 1:26 image situation. We got to get out of hijack city. We're talking to the real ones. Because now they want Prester John to be bowing to this baby Jesus. They're just playing off of, reality, man. You remember when Moshe laid his hands on Joshua at the end of Deuteronomy? When his body, was left unabated. That his countenance was always pure. His flesh never decayed, Moshe. But before he died, he laid his hands on Joshua. And then we read the prophecy of Joshua that we found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So Moshe did pass his energy on to this Joshua, who in the Quran, Joshua is the son of Miriam, which would make Joshua Moses' nephew. And there's a lot of connections between Moshe and David when you dodge the hijack of the timelines. So there is a connection with David and this baby Jesus, but not their reflection. We're talking David and Joshua. There's a strong connection with David and Joshua. And they're playing on it. In their fiction, they're playing on it. And they just throw him to the side and call him an Ethiopian eunuch. And he's playing the backdrop when he has all the drop. Prester John, otherwise known as John the Baptist, otherwise known as Elijah. Even Jesus calls, John the Baptist Elijah. How Elijah, son of man, will return when it's all about the, get cracking. Elijah will return. David will be king forever, prince forever, Khan forever. Elijah will return. Is Elijah David? John the Baptist, Prester John, Ethiopian eunuch. You just got to surf the wave. Dragonfly perspective.
Or was it Julius Caesar?
$400
Let's take a look at the list of posts.
Here we go.
On Christmas Day of the year 800, Leo III is crowning Charlemagne as Holy Roman Emperor. So we have the first list. Put the remaining 800 years next to it. That brings us to the year 33, the death of Jesus Christ. That made Peter the first pope appointed by Christ. Now, Leo III, as lawful descendant of Jesus Christ, can crown Charlemagne as Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. Let's return to the list of the popes. But let's put the second list on the other timeline. That brings us to the year 450. So in 476, you have the fall of the Roman Empire. That means you have 450 years of Roman emperors. And that brings us to Julius Caesar. In the first timeline, the year 0 is Jesus Christ. In the other timeline, the year 0 is Julius Caesar.
Bang!
What happened here? Let me give you an example. So you have Mao, psychopathic killer, responsible for millions of deaths. But to hide all this, you create a propaganda Mao, the completely opposite of the real Mao. Now let's presume you want to make two different people out of this Mao. What would you do? You take the propaganda Mao and you call him Lao. You take the real Mao, but you give him a different face. Now you have Mao and Lao.
Wow. You got Mao and Lao. Wow. It's mind blasting, man. It's mind blasting. How many Montezumas you got? How many Mansa Musas you got? You know Musa just means Moses, Khan. How many Prester Johns? Johns the Baptists. Ethiopian eunuch. Where's Ethiopia? Where's the Byzantine? Where's Constantinople? Mazaka, Mosak. Where's Mashika? Mazaka, Mashika. Who's the Mashika? I mean, Josephus, breaks it down a whole nother type of way with these Meshiks. To those, who understand. An entire nation was once called and named after this Mexico, Mexico, Moshek, Moses, Mosak. Now, how many Moseses? Well, let's just take one Moses, and call him China. Take that China and call him, I mean, look, we're born into sin, right? We're born into this confusion, into this particular synthetic electricity that powers up their grid. But if you want to get the grid, holla at the kid and make sure you got the right face. Now hear this again, man.
Julius Caesar. In the first timeline, the year 0 is Jesus Christ. In the other timeline, the year 0 is Julius Caesar. What happened here? Let me give you an example. So you have Mao, psychopathic killer, responsible for millions of deaths. But to hide all this, you create a propaganda Mao, the completely opposite of the real Mao. Now let's presume you want to make two different people out of this Mao. What would you do? You take the propaganda Mao and you call him Lao. You take the real Mao, but you give him a different face. Now you have Mao and Lao.
Wow. So you could take this Joshua, who they would call Joshua the robber because he's slicing and dicing the hijacks. They'll call him a murderer. He's just slicing us up. Meanwhile, he's really doing the creator's work. And then you got, Jesus, right? You got Jesus over here, turn the other cheek. It's all good. We'll just call him Jesus. And they said, no, what Jesus translates to Joshua. I just never, seen that proven, that Jesus, remember the J is trickery. You can't even use the J. You can't even use the J. Jesus translates to Yeshua. Jesus transliterates to Yeshua. But either way, they're flipping the name to Lao when it was Mao. And they're taking this Mao and he said they're changing the face of the Mao. Right? So David got a whole new face now. Come on, man. Shape shifting, face shifting, name shifting, timeline hijack, chronological, shifting, chronology shifting. I mean, everything is shifting, so you can't be shifting too. You got to be firm, fixed, and immovable, man, to see clearly.
So let's turn this equation. You have Julius Caesar with the wrong face.
Woo-wee! Woo-wee! So now you got to look at the Caesar Borgia, right? The Caesar Borgia with the wrong face. Now, what do the Hebrews do today? What do our Hebrew brothers do today? Sisters, they say, we'll call that face, we'll take that image and we'll call it Yeshua. We'll call it Yeshua HaMashiach. We'll call it Yahweh Shai. We'll give it an afro and make it look mean with fiery eyes. And we'll just read the same words, read the same document, and at the end of the day, hijack the people to go through this character to get to their creator. They don't alleviate the hijack. They don't slay the hijack. They say, you know what? And, the worst of it is, the worst of them all is to connect it, to, our indigenous flow and act like this Jesus is really an indigenous situation. Nah, man, that's the worst of it. I mean, that's bearing false witness on Joshua himself, right? Because this ain't no turn the other cheek matter. There ain't no evidence of someone who's been slaying Canaanites, slaying dog heads. This Christus rocks with the dogs. This sign of Cephalus rocks with the dogs. This is rocking with the dog. No matter what face you put on, no matter what Hebrew name you put on them, same story, same man, same syphilis. So whether you're talking Julius Christ, because he called him Christ, Stephen Christ, this is all their Greek. This is all their language. Man, what a tangled web we weave. When they keep switching the faces on us, we talking phantoms and duplication.
And you have Jesus Christ
Bang.
with the wrong name. I already showed you that in the Middle Ages, Julius Caesar was depicted with a beard. So I think there might be some evidence in the Shroud of Turin. Some people have made a 3D replica. Let's take a look at the body wounds. For every body wound of Caesar, they have found a Christian explanation. There goes the spear of destiny. So Julius Caesar is not the short-haired gray old man, but a long-haired, bearded young man. Something like this, except for the nose maybe. Julius Caesar had an arched nose with a tip curved downwards at the end.
And that's the hijack, because obviously they're going to give you some falsified, you know what I'm saying, shit within some drop, you know what I mean? I mean, some folks got evidence, you know, hardcore that this Julius Caesar was also a Naga. And they're just looking at, oh, here's this shroud of cloth. His nose must be pointy. Let's put our images on it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, we're just talking still more on more. Don't get fucked up by the images, but pay attention to the drop. Murdered at the age of 33. Pay attention. Don't get distracted, my people. Still the year zero. And what does Anatoly Fomenko say? The year zero, or the actual, you know, this birth of this Messiah really went down in, you know, 1152. Some say 1252. Some say 1052. So you have a 200-year differentiation. You know what I mean? But I think most are rocking around this 1152, 1153 situation, or 1053. Either way, that's their year zero at that 1053 mark. So we know we're just on these falsified timelines, but this at least gives you a perspective that that could be the actual year zero, 1053, 1054. So what's happening after that? You know what I'm saying? Now we can start, you know what I mean? This is just for the wave surfers only. You know what I mean? Because this is really the advanced, advanced wave surfer, you know, one-on-one, you know, situation when you start really digging in between the timelines, in between the time shifts, and you got to be unafraid, man. You got to be willing to, you know what I'm saying, put everything on the table and just, you know, start piecing it together, man, and have no bias about it. You don't have to hold on to a super naga, you know what I'm saying, new test, old test, none of that, because Hawa always gives you the foundation. We don't need no book to know Hawa. You know what I'm saying? We don't need no book or writing to know our creator. It's already in us to know our creator, you know, those that are supposed to hear the sound, hear the vibration, hear the frequency. So, you know what I'm saying? We are the book. You know what I'm saying? The book is written about us. The book is always coming behind our actions, right? We don't wait for the book and then act, you know what I'm saying? But if it's a time capsule, you know, to say, hey, here's a reminder of your actions, you know what I'm saying? When it's purified, when you can crystallize, here's how you can collapse the wave pattern to crystallize instead of collapsing it to some type of decay, some type of destruction, parasitic situation that we're in right now in this synthetic matrix. Love to the bro. Natural by law, go get the drop. Last couple minutes. All the moon cult, man. So what is sin, man? What is sin? You're born into sin, right? Then to the Osirises, Anubises, we're back to the sign of Sapphira. Saint Stephen. Make yourself God, right? Just like Alcathous of Atlantis, he wanted to make himself God. He was cursed with the Cephalus. Same thing with Christ of Ophir, Christopher. Let's go. Army of the dogs. Conquer the new world with the dog heads. Hijack City. that drop, man. You know, excuse the corny music. All that drop, you know, when he talking Charlemagne, when he talking, you know what I'm saying? What was the one before that? Hold on. Before that one right there. Right. So you got the Viking drop, right, which is the, you know, connected back to the Goths and the Mongol situation. You got the Charlemagne situation, which is also Charlemagne called himself David, King David. Bang, back to the Crusades, and now you got the Templars and all this stuff, and now we can connect the Prester John letter of 1165. Bang, here comes the Renaissance, right? Tripoli, remember the Moors of Tripoli, right? I mean, all this connection, Noble Drew Ali, all that situation. So, you know, I mean, all the stuff that Carameo's bringing out is, I mean, you know, it's a perfect time to revisit all this drop that has, you know, again, been golden spikes along the way of our investigation. This here is Drop Nation. You know what I mean? Drop is the healing dew. Drop is the manna. Drop is the frequency, the energy. You know what I mean? Drop is the foundation. It's the water. So when I say you got the drop, I'm saying you got the water. When I say this is Drop Nation, I'm saying we got the water. Drop Nation got the water. And this is what we are experiencing. This is our observation. If you were a part of the journey, if you're a part of the journey, then you're meant to be, you know, a part of the investigation, a part of the journey, because at the end of the day, you're just investigating yourself, man. How can you hate on that? How can you hate on Prester John? You're investigating the priesthood, the priest king, the queens, the dynasties, the reality, hijack free. Not one man, not one person, the full flow, the full energy, the full platonic solid spectrum, the full wave pattern. So we're saying this is all one thing. This is all just connect to the Renaissance, man. The rebirth means the rebirth of the information, the rebirth of the lie. Right now you got the Copernican theory popping up, saying that you're on a ball, spinning around all these other isolated globular bodies. We got to get back into that Amadeo Giannini, worlds beyond the poles, man. It's all connected, right? It's all connected. No separation. No isolated globular bodies in space. More land, more water, more vegetation. This is orientation season. It's time to get oriented, reoriented, Renaissance. All right. They get into it. And see how they turn that into a sphere? Hey, man, for those that are awake, right, you can see clearly. Yeah, let's take a plane. Watch how they do that real slick, man. Let's take a flat plane while we give them this new information, destroy the world, and let's turn it into a sphere. Let go. Oh, destroy the old world. False flags. Now you got a spinning ball, man. I mean, first you had a circle, now you got a sphere, man. First you had a circle, now you got a sphere, man. All right, man, that's the Empire of the False Christ. Ahchwa, the Drop Nation, keeps sending us these links, man. Much love to Gaja Vlamst. You try. And as promised, man, we'll make a dismount in this link right here again. Love to you. Love to whoever sent me this link. please keep sending me the drop so I can share with the tribe. And we're going to belly flop in this. This is called The Last Electric Nights. Again, going back into the, you know what I'm saying, the Templar, the Knights, the Swan Knights of Sylvanus, Texas, the Toltecs, Israel the Third, Israel the Fourth, all the Kalalus artifacts in Arizona. All the drop is connected, man, right beneath your feet. They said artifacts. And you said, oh. The creator said, oh, here comes some artifacts. Here comes some cities. Here comes Antarctica melting. Here comes the spell being reversed. The diamonds, starting to, do their virtue, starting to be virtuous again. Our diamonds are becoming virtuous because you're becoming virtuous. And that also connects to your technology. The last electric night. So this cat is breaking down some, documentations of some technology, you know what I'm saying, that has more to do with, just the real energy source and spectrum. And this is back to the Atlanta situation as well. This is what they found here. Again, even when you look at these Nehushtan, dragon swords coming out of Kalalus, Arizona, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, it's more than just a sword. Excalibur is more than just a sword, like the King Arthur, legend. So we know that these have, more etheric connections, especially when you're talking dragon swords. And scepters. All right, we're talking scepters. Let's go.
The scepters. And how they kind of look like magic wands as we know it from fiction. Or is it nonfiction? Because I contended, and also Martin of Flat Earth British, he says the same things. That he thinks these are weapons. That they had some purpose other than decorative or symbolic or whatever nonsense they tell us nowadays. And it would make sense. If you're the king, yes, you have guards, and the guards weren't carrying these. The king carried this. But if there were a weapon that was extremely powerful, that was superior to what the guards had, would the king give it to the guards, or would the king himself have it? Now, maybe this weapon or the how to use it that has been lost, but they still give this to the king, and it has become symbolic. But what was it? Was it always symbolic? Why this stick like this? I guess he could whack it against somebody. It seems a little juvenile, though. It'd be more intelligent if there were.
So these are real artifacts, man. These are real scepters, man. And whose is this? What purpose was this particular one crafted for? It's very detailed, right?
Actually, a purpose for that. The same is true for these. And I want to mention the channel Global Vision, where a lot of this material comes from, although the idea has been out there and I've been working on it, but he did such a fantastic job putting things together. I need to mention that. And he provided some helpful links to some material that's made available that I used for this video. So I want to thank him for that and direct you to his channel, which is listed in the prescription below. So here, in these swords, you have a couple of elements that you see over and over again. And so you have the knobby ends, just like you do on the cannons. And then you have some perforations. You have some welding of metal conductors, really like wires. But there are also these hand grip cords wrapped around the handle of the sword. And that usually...
And it does look like some type of cordage, copper cordage or something like that. And these type of dragon type of flows, when electricity or, whatever the plasma, whatever the frequency, the magnetism, whatever we're calling it, the ether, turn it into something else, man. Let's go.
Is metallic. Even if it's fabric, it has a metallic weave in it. So it is a coil, so it is somewhat electrical or electromagnetic in nature, at least it would respond to electromagnetic frequencies the way any coil would, as far as receiving, producing these fields, electrical fields. And there is an interesting gap between these metal extensions that provide an anode and cathode, much like a welder's tip, or like a spark plug, or any number of examples. Yes, obviously, the conventional wisdom, it is true that if you're in a sword fight, hand-to-hand combat, that protective disc or ring or whatever shape it takes is there for obvious reasons to protect your hand. But the decoration, the ornamentation, sometimes we assume that it is merely decorative or merely ornamental, but perhaps there is a function, like with these holes on either side of the shaft of the blade, that could be for any number of things, including a protrusion of wire. Same thing with the knobs on the ends. It's a nice place to wrap some conductive wire around if they did that. And the point that we are making is that perhaps they were like a lightsaber. And I will show you some pictures that would support that, or rather not pictures, but drawings of demonstrations. The expos of their day show lightning coming from these swords. And look at the copper. It looks like copper.
Copper coils, man. We just talking Star Wars, man. Talking Jedi, which connect directly with the Cariots. They spelled it Jeydi. These are tribes of the Cariots, man, who are the Jedi.
So it could be brass, the inlay.
Jedi is Judah. Judah is Judah. Let go.
Very interesting that they would do it that way. And I see the golden ratio in the geometric shapes on many of these weapons. The materials of brass and the iron, the nickel, it's all conductive. And oftentimes there are holes for some kind of a wire to go through, and always the grip is wrapped with a metallic fiber weave. Now look at this suit of armor. There are a number of things to mention about it, but this sword, my goodness. Yes, it's supposedly it's a two-handed sword that is a sword specifically for battling against mounted riders. That's what we're told. There are a lot of things about different swords that suggest maybe there's more to the story. And the serrations, these shapes, these extensions, the knobs, some of the elements are nice, decorative, yes, ornamental, yes, but maybe there's more to it. There are more functional, practical reasons for it. And especially the size. I mean, look at that size. I mean, folks, the handle grips look like they're made for two hands, but what size of hands? Really big hands.
You talking giants? Is you talking giants, man? We're just talking the last electric night, man. The last night, the last Naga night, right? The last Prester.
I mean, there's plenty of room for two hands. I understand the leverage aspect of it and having the knob at the end so your hand doesn't slip off the end, but stick with me. Now, the thing I noticed about this is it's not sharp, and I've seen this a lot. I've been disappointed. I was into swords and suits of armor when I was a kid, so it's quite a long time ago. I mean, I don't remember everything I learned at that time. It's probably a lot of bollocks anyway, but I do remember being disappointed when I would look at what was supposedly a real set of armor or a real sword. When I got over to Europe the first time and got to one of these older castles and looked at it, I was sorely disappointed. Now, I was very much impressed by the building. I was impressed by the size of the swords and that type of stuff. The suits of armor weren't very impressive. They seemed chintzy and thin and light to me, although I didn't get to handle them much at all, or if at all. The swords were kind of heavy and they were dull, very dull. But I've seen in other videos, and I don't necessarily want to show it because of copyright, but where they tested these suits of armor, and the conventional wisdom is, yeah, it protects you much better against all kinds of weapons, especially like arrows. But the fact of the matter is, a longbowman, when he shot a recreation of a suit of armor from almost any distance, he totally penetrated any part of the armor with any of his arrow heads. And yes, I mean, at point blank, sure, he has an advantage, but still, I thought, that would deflect off. But the thing is, I'm thinking of steel. These things weren't made of steel. They didn't have steel, apparently. It's a softer metal, and it penetrates. So if you start taking a look at electrical fields, and you can do these overlay ultraviolet images, or it could be infrared, but polarized. You can see these electrical fields coming off in nodes and different array patterns based on the geometry of the metal. And so you can see what we're talking about here with these plasma discharges and different ideas that we have for that. And it even may be evident in some of the heretofore thought of as decorative wear.
Mm.
So the various shapes that we get, obviously it could be just to save material and weight for better handling. But what if it was more than that? If you look at the grip, it's always metal around the grip, always room for wires. The knob on the end, maybe it's a wear point. Maybe it is. But the sword itself, a lot of these swords, they don't seem very practical. Like, you could poke somebody with this, sure. But it's not really a slashing sword. Like fencing, those swords are kind of lame compared to other ones. And then you get things like this that just seem very strange. Very, very strange. Like, what's going on? But imagine that electrified, all the little electrical fields coming off, the little arcs. So maybe we've never seen these things in action. These little numbers seem very odd. What would you do with that?
I mean, it seems like alien technology, right? You know what I mean? But again, this is Atlantis. So now you can connect it all and say, here's artifacts, here's ancient technology. Who does it belong to? It belongs to the so-called black man, black woman, you know what I mean? This is your stuff. And they keep putting it all over the place in some recreated, phantom, duplicated timelines. Iconoclast the images, change the face, change the name, throw them in a different city, put them across the world, put Jerusalem over here, put Asia over here, put China over there, put Japan over there, put Genghis Khan over here. Come on, man, put the Naga way over there, put the titles like that, call you black, call you African American. This is your stuff, man. Wakanda forever. Wakanda forever, man. Wakanda forever, man. So you go get this drop, man. Let me just see where he's going with this one right here, though. I mean, this is mighty interesting. You got the link, though, so you can watch the rest. But let me just see where he's going right quick with this one.
It's kind of silly in a way. It's spring-loaded. That's kind of cool for that old technology. But if you think of those mad scientists, like in the Frankenstein movies, the old ones with the electrical arcing going up and then stopping and then going up, and maybe that's what was going on. Except that would be bipole. You've got three here, but you could have two arcs going up. It'd be like a taser gun in that sense. And then this shield, the little hokey doohickey unicorn horns coming out the ends of those.
I mean, come on, man. You can't make this shit up. This was used by somebody. Pokey hickey unicorn thing. They don't know who you are. They don't know what you're capable of. And you're looking at, some of your old stuff. You know what I mean? And, it's a more and more war, man. Atlantis, Moo, Connection, California, Shasta, all the vortexes. And we're just trying to get you to understand yourself, you know what I'm saying? Or just understand that it's worth investigating. It is, this is worth, this pointy doohickey unicorn thing is worth the investigation, man. You're just surfing the wave, and, it reminds me of something, man. It reminds me of something, man. In the book of Jeremiah, and we'll get this for the dismount. We're just connecting some of these great links from Drop Nation, and I just had them up, man. I just wanted to, connecting with y'all, and, Ahchwa to Drop Nation, man. Keep dropping the drop, and, as it comes up, as it flows like this, we'll keep dropping. You're dropping, sharing, spreading the word, spreading the frequency, spreading the foundation. Let's get it like this for the dismount. The word which came to Jeremiah from Ahchwa, saying, Arise and go down to the potter's house, and there I will cause thee to hear my words. Then I went down to the potter's house, and behold, he was at his work on the wheels, and whensoever the vessel that he made of the clay was marred in the hand of the potter, he made it again another vessel, and it seemed good to the potter to make it. Then the word of Ahchwa came to me, saying, O house of Israel, cannot I do with you as this potter? Saith Ahchwa, behold, as the clay in the potter's hand, the clay in the potter's hand, framer, shaper, the clay in the potter's hand, so are you in my hand, framer, shaper. O house of Israel, at one instant I may speak concerning a nation and concerning a kingdom, to pluck up and to break down and to destroy it. Man, at one instant I might speak of destroying you, Deuteronomy 28. But if that nation turn from their evil, because of which I have spoken against it, I repent. Your Creator's telling you, I repent of the evil I thought to do unto you. Why? Because you have turned away from the evil, from the transgressing, from the sin, instead of being born into sin, right? Instead of being born into the Papal Bull doom, Diversas. Man, instead of being born into the leprosy, instead of being born into the palladium, this sin of Cephali, this Columbo sin, man, instead of being born into the dog-headed flow, the pedigree, right? Don't they got some dog food brand called Pedigree? St. Christopher is carrying the Christ child, right? Oh, we know what he really looked like, the dog-headed man. But look how they give him another face. He's carrying the Christ child. But this is in 200, drop. Christ was supposed to be born in the BCs, drop. I know. So what Christ child, right? St. Christopher's carrying the Christ child. No, brother, you got to go through Christ to get to the Creator. I got to go through the dog head. Estebanico. Christopher is actually a brief description of one of the most famous stories about him. He is Christ bearer, Christ of bearer, Christ of Ophir, from the Greek word, Christ. All right. As the story goes, was a new convert to Christianity, right? Because he wanted to get his dog-headed face out the way. And an ascetic spiritual exercise undertook to wait by a river ford, carrying travelers across his back one day. He was supposed to be a giant. He was supposed to be, some type of huge monstrosity. I mean, this Saint Christopher. One day, a young child came along and requested passage. Here he is again, carrying the Christ child, right? Yeah, man. As he carried the child across, the boy seemed to increase in weight. So the burden increased, right? Until it seemed to Christopher that he carried the entire weight of the world on his back, because Christ came for the world, right? This anomaly was explained when, on beginning challenge, the boy revealed that he was in fact the Christ child, and the weighty importance of his burden, responsible for the creation and redemption of indeed the whole world, responsible for the creation. This burden, his burden, responsible for the creation and redemption. So our brothers today say, yeah, Genesis 1:26, this Christ is there in the creation. He's responsible. He's the image. He's responsible for the creation and the redemption. The same Christ, man. This is what they brought you, my naga. Christopher is always shown stooped over, fording a river while carrying a small child on his back. Here we go again. The giant Saint Christopher. And they keep giving him human faces, which we know the real spill. The marvels of India, including in the top center, 3 cynocephali conversing. Oh yeah, right there. You see 3 cynocephali conversing. Dog heads. Yeah, man. Armed cynocephali cannibal race. Right. Yeah, man. You got the links. You remember the story of St. Christopher, but a powerful human king, right? Christopher Colombo, Alcathis, still stood in fear of the name of the devil. And when Christopher then sought out Satan, so this Christopher started worshiping Satan as clearly the more powerful Lord, he was likewise disappointed to find his new master frightened by the Christian symbol of the cross. So finally he decided to serve Christ. Put it all together. So instead of serving Satan, he serves what? Jupiter? So finally he decides to serve Christ instead, as clearly the most powerful. In this version of the story, Christopher is cast in the role of the virtuous outsider, and his bestial appearance makes him even more of a powerful spiritual exemplar, while the conclusion of the tale reassures the faithful of the Christianity's superiority, obviously even to someone not quite fully human. We're talking dog heads, man, on the murals, dog heads on the paintings. Pentecost. We're talking Pentecost, right, brothers? Bottom center, a cynocephalus among these representing the full-flung nations of the world. Oh, yeah. We're supposed to preach to the nations, right, brother? Christ preaches to the dog heads too, brother. Nah, man, the Creator says, abomination, Joshua, wipe them out. They're taking over your land. The Canines got your land. This ain't no turn the other cheek. This is your ancient love song. We dodging the Christ child. We dodging this frequency, man. This hijacked city. Don't you see the dragons up here mowing them down? Yeah, man. Dragons everywhere, man. You know, we're just talking Jeremiah 18, man. Let's read this part right here for the dismount. Now, at one instant I may speak concerning a nation and concerning a kingdom to pluck up and to break down and destroy. But if that nation turn from their evil, right, turn from their sin, and that's what we're saying. What's sin? Here we get where sin is. There we go. All right. So we got this canines howling at the moon, right? This El Nana, right? Love the natural by law. Get that drop. Shumash, Shamash. I mean, what's this whole Shumash situation today? It's supposed to be having all the drop on this Khalifa drop. You know what I'm saying? But the Shumash got the drop. We got the Shumash casinos all over the place. Yeah, man. When you repent, when you turn away from your evil, the Creator says, you know what? I repent of the evil that I thought to do unto you. At one instant I may speak concerning a nation and concerning a kingdom to build and to plant it. Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 15, right? At one instant I may speak concerning a nation, concerning a kingdom to build and to plant it. But if it do evil in my sight, then that I hearken not, that it hearken not to my voice, then I repent of the good. So you go from Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 15 to the rest of it. Go get the rest of it, right? Because that's what happens when you don't observe what the Creator asks you to observe, and you observe something else, then you got all possibilities, right? Now it's all happening, and all happening could be all bad too, right? And now you've collapsed the wave pattern. Get that double slit experiment. You collapsed the wave pattern in the land of all badness. And all the Creator said was to observe your commandments. When you observe the flow, the frequency, you have paradise. Panaga is there for you. Don't open the door for the hijack no more. Don't go through nothing to get to your source, your breath of security, period. Go direct to your source and observe. Because at an instant, I may speak concerning a nation, concerning a kingdom, to build, to plant it. But if it do evil in my sight, that it hearken not to my voice, then I repent of the good where I said I would benefit it. I can't help you if you're not observing. Now, therefore, do you speak to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, thus says Ahchwa, behold, I frame evil against you. Framer and shaper, right? And devise a device against you. Return you now, everyone, from his evil way, and amend your ways and doings. The Creator's giving you a choice. Return from your twisted sin, right? Get out of her. Get out of her. Get out of sin. Get out of that Il Nana. Get out of that Ishtar Easter, right? Get out of her, Babylon. Get out of that Babel, right? Let's go. But they say there is no hope, but we will walk after our own devices, and we will do everyone after the stubbornness of his evil heart. And this is where we are right now. In the fourth quarter, we still got to deal with the stubbornness in our evil hearts. What's preventing us from tribing up? The stubbornness in our evil heart. Everyone wanting to do after their own devices. I'm talking to my tribe. I'm talking to my people. We must turn from our ways, man, from our own devices. We must turn from the stubbornness of our own hearts. We got to tribe up, because at the end of the day, there's only one response to being neglectful and not observant. Therefore, deliver up the children to the famine, and hurl them to the power of the sword, and let the wives be bereaved of the children and widows, and let the men be slain of death, and let the young men be smitten of the sword in battle. Let a cry be heard from their houses, when thou shalt bring a troop suddenly upon them. My Naga, who let the dogs out? Who let the troops suddenly upon you? For they have digged a pit to take me, and hid snares for my feet. Yet Ahchwa, you know, Jeremiah's talking to the creator, says, Ahchwa, you know all their counsel against me to slay me. So yeah, man, your people are tripping, and you already know they dug a pit to slay me, man. So forgive not their iniquity, neither blot out their sin from your sight, but let them be made to stumble before you. Deal thou with them in the time of your anger. Go ahead and play it out then, because these people have already plotted against me to slay me. You know they hid snares for my feet. So go do what you got to do. Go ahead and give Israel this work, man. Go ahead and let the people be made to stumble before you, and deal with them in the time of your anger. So we have to go through this time, of this period, to increase the brand new, reality, that's coming upon us. We got a new reality that we are increasing, something that is unprecedented. Again, this shit has never happened before. When you've been this lost and this disconnected, we are increasing a different reality by observing. You're creating it, and you're increasing it, and you're shining like a diamond, man. You're shining like a diamond. So let's rock in Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 15. Let's rock in what we came here for. Let's come together. Let's walk side by side, man. Let's do something unprecedented, because it's your time. It's our time. You know what I mean? The potter, the framer, the shaper. You know what I'm saying? This design that we're in is truly remarkable, man. And because what we're going through is unprecedented, we got to have unprecedented respect, loyalty, and patience for each other and with each other. The patience that you got for your sister, your brother, to return to the fold must be unprecedented. So for all our family, we love you. Our patience for you is unprecedented, because we're one, man. We fly together. We tribe together. You dig? We vibe together. Hey, hop to the home team, man. Y'all keep surfing the wave, man. Have a Yapa week. Look out for that Guayacum Balsam drop. Love to the sister, Jackie Anthony. Get in the wave. Ahab to the Ether Squad. We popping off season 3. Ahab, man. Thai battle drop. Beautiful, classroom gemstones today with that Crystal Essentials. Chef Candy's back, man, in the ether with the Zahn reading. She's reading cover to cover, The Lost Tribes and Promised Lands by Ronald Sanders. Oh, man, we looking out for that Ma Jigga tomorrow, thinking out loud. The sister Phoenix Nadi, left the Phoenix Nadi. She dropped her Nadi Wisdom cipher with Copper Khan, Ahab to the bro. So it's all happening, man. We just got out of a Yapa frequency rehab with Isaac Ford, man. He dropped 55 tracks to kick off his season 3 premiere of his frequency rehab every Saturday, 8 to 10. We just rehab it up, man. So we just getting started, and this is our flow. You know what I mean? Come enjoy it. Come join it. Come increase it. And help us see clearly. Keep dropping your comments. Keep keep those prayers and meditation going direct to our Creator. Ahchwa, all praise, our eternal, ancient head of days. We rocking with the best, our framer, our shaper. Y'all keep tribing up. Kwam, Yashara, Kwam to the people. Ahchwa.